our privilege, our esteemed panelists for the session. We have with us Mr. Rajiv Naithani, EVP and Chief People Officer, Infogain Noida. He's a young, dynamic, and fast-tracker HR and OB thought leader who believes in self being the instrument of change. He's inspired by the employees first concept and finds it to be key driver towards catering to the expectations of customers and shareholders' cultural integration. He heads the global HR organization as CHRO for Infogain with a geographical presence in the US, India, UK, Poland, Singapore, and the Middle East in his current role. Chris Capital-backed Infogain is a fast-growing mid-sized IT engineering organization that is headquartered in Los Gatos, California. He's a fast tracker who has been the youngest country or regional or global HR head in 3 different companies and has worked with Global Logic, Dissolve Systems, and Infogain. He has the credit of receiving Global Logic's Best of the Best CEO awards for 2 consecutive years, 2013 and 14, for his exemplary performance and contribution to business. He has also won the Young HR Professional of the Year 2014 award at the 5th Asia's Best Employers Brands Awards in Singapore. May I request our director, Dr. Prabhat Pankaj, to welcome Mr. Rajiv with a green certificate.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. And thank you very much for being the part of this wonderful session. And we are all looking forward to hear the view on how India is going to achieve this target of $7 trillion. A tree has been planted in this keeping the tradition of Jaipuria in mind as part of our green initiative. The tree has been planted in your name in Sundarban and it's a geotagged, so you can track the development of this tree.
So much for the honor and also the introduction, Dr. Prabhat. Glad to be here in this session today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let me introduce our next panelist, Mr. Sandeep Chhettri, CEO TradeIndia.com, Delhi. TradeIndia is one of India's leading B2B marketplaces, and Mr. Sandeep oversees the strategy and operations of the platform that offers global buyers and sellers a reliable channel to identify and connect with trustworthy business partners. Besides creating a high-performing team of 2,000 plus people and vibrant work culture, he has immensely contributed in building an ecosystem to help over 5.8 million SMEs connect with each other, leading to rapid growth opportunities. He's an MSME expert who has worked with TradeIndia for over 19 years. Mr. Chhettri is recognized as an emerging voice for his extensive writing on the recovery and survival of Indian MSMEs in a post-pandemic world. May I request Dr. Lokesh Vijay to welcome Mr. Chhettri with a green certificate.
Thank you, sir, for coming and accept our invitation for this session. And it's an honor for us to listen to you. And we have a very small initiative towards the sustainability, 1 tree from your side to the Sundarban. And you can track this tree by the number, the progress of this tree. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thanks, Dr. Lokesh, for this wonderful initiative, and highly privileged to be part of this forum. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Let me introduce our next esteemed panelist, Ms. Mallika Shankarnarayan, CEO Startup Solutions, Choice Architect Singapore. She's a brand growth strategist and behavior change catalyst with 22 years of experience in strategic planning, integrated marketing communication, and digital innovation experience across creative agencies, marketing, and media. Her work has helped create a competitive edge for global, regional, local marketers in P&G, Unilever, Coca-Cola, Heinz, Johnson & Johnson across India, China, ASEAN, Japan, and Korea. She helped brands grow and create a positive dent in behaviors, culture, and community by understanding how people make rational and irrational choices. The result is a choice of architecture-inspired integrated creative solutions that often sit at the crossroads of psychology and technology. Her philosophy for success is based on 3 pillars: insight, inspiration, and influence. May I request Dr. Shubha Jory to welcome our guest with a green certificate.
Very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And as already stated, this initiative is with Grow Tree NGO, Jaipuria has partnered with, and a lot of sustainability efforts have been put together. So a tree will be planted by your name, and you can track the growth of the tree by this certificate number mentioned at the bottom of the certificate. So once again, thanking you for your presence here.
It is my absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. And I am positively delighted with this green certificate. I think it's such a wonderful initiative. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me introduce our next esteemed panelist, Mr. Sanjeev Bindlish, Executive Director, Asia, Congruent Global, New Delhi. He's passionate about building high-performance teams and business transformation by understanding customer business, environment, pain areas, relationship with C-level, and growing companies, creating results with impact. He brings a wealth of over 2.5 decades of experience, strong industry knowledge, and professional network to many companies and organizations. His specialties are team management, P&L management, scaling up and building businesses from scratch, leadership, team building, mentoring, communication, analytical skills, and a vast and robust industry network. May I request Dr. Lokesh to please welcome, sir.
Welcome you in this session, sir, as our initiative for the towards the sustainability. So one tree from your side with your name to the Sundar one, and you can track that tree with the help of the certificate number, sir. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you, everyone. I'm really mesmerized, and this is something which is really wonderful. You have touched the hearts of the millions, including mine. Great initiative. Thank you again.
So let me introduce our esteemed panelist, Mr. Agniwesh Thakur, Vice President HR, Accenture India, Noida. He drives and designs digital human capital management solution for organization. He helps in digital HR transformation by simplifying HR processes to enhance employee experience. He has consulted, advised, and implemented HRIT solutions for various industries globally. He has been independently managing large clients on HCM implementation and support. He has managed entire gamut of HR with in-depth knowledge and working expertise as business partner HR. He is actively involved with CSR and helped many NGOs in executing their projects. He supports in developing HR capabilities at various business schools. May I request Director Sir to please welcome our guest, Mr. Thakur, with a green certificate.
My pleasure, Dr. Anwar. Welcome, Agniwesh ji. We are all looking forward to hear you. A tree has been planted in your name. That's as part of our initiative. And I would like to inform all the panelists over here that in last 3 years, we have been able to plant more than 8,000 trees, keeping all 4 campuses in mind.
And Prabhatji, I'm so humbled that this is the 3rd tree that Jaipuria has planted on Marine.
Oh, great.
I feel so fortunate, and this is always a green sustainable initiative. Thank you so much. We feel humbled and honored about this. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. So taking it forward, I would request Mr. Rajiv to please chair the session and take forward the session. So please.
Yeah, thank you, Anwar. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon, India time, for this entire webinar session. And I really feel privileged to be sharing this entire panel with the co-panelists, the distinguished panelists who come with a great amount of experience and expertise in their respective fields and areas. So I'm sure we will have a lot of fun and a lot of wisdom which would get shared as part of this process for the participants. And I believe that most of the participants are the young minds. And this topic is really, truly relevant for them. But at the same time, let me tell you guys that we are not the economists here. So the topic looks to be such that where you need to really get to hear the economist or the SMEs who can give you a lot of insights. But and that's something which I can't guarantee that you'll get to hear from us. But what I can guarantee is you'll hear a lot of experiential and realistic perspective from the panelists in this session today, where they'll share with you in terms of what their overall experiential perspective is about how this journey is going to be possible for us. A little bit of context before I actually get into the conversation with the panelists here. When we talk about, and even much before that, the fun part is the government of India has been actually chasing the target of 5 trillion economy size, right? And here we have Jaipuria, which is too ambitious and talking about 7 trillion economic size for the country. So that's a great perspective. You should always be ahead of the curve, ahead of the crowd, and chasing something which is not yet thought about. So thanks for leading that, actually, and making the entire context difficult for us to talk about and discuss in this forum today. Now, looking back, we know that in 1991, with the liberalization, the country really got out of the context of being a protectionist government or protectionist country and got into a rapid, fastest growing economic context over a period of time. And we are, I believe somewhere, which I had read some time back, that from a nominal GDP perspective, we have already crossed 3 trillion mark. And now we are discussing something which is not just the double, but even more than that from the journey as we move forward perspective. Now, as a baselining to this, we need to really understand when we talk about GDP in Indian context, there are 3 major drivers to it. One, as a agricultural, traditionally we evolved from an agriculture economy perspective that is considered to be one of the important pillars in our journey. However, that only contributes 17% of the GDP, whereas employs over 45% of the total workforce of the country. So there's a lot of untapped potential we have in that space. Then we have industry, and then we have services. Now in services, segment has grown significantly. Today, we have more than 50% of our GDP contribution coming in from the services, whether it is coming in from retail, insurance, technology, space, aviation, travel, tourism, etc. But services industry has really given a leap which the country needed over a period of time. And I think now it's important that as we move forward, how do we tap industry as well, and also look at the exponential opportunities for us from a services space point of view, and also look at the innovative and technology-driven aspects in the agriculture space. There, we're still the larger population, which is 45% of the population is that space, and I think the majority of them do not even know that how to leverage the technology-based solutioning to really increase the yield multifold from an overall productivity perspective. Strength, in my view, is our pharma industry. As we all heard in terms of the contribution the pharma industry has for drug supplies across the world. It is considered that it's over 50%. The technology industry, where I come from, throughout in my career, I've worked with tech companies. There has been a significant presence technology companies have made in India. The advantage which we have in Indian context is the language, the population demographics, and overall engineering qualification and the quality around that. While there are challenges from a skill gap perspective, which I'll talk about in a while from now. But let's understand when we are talking about this entire journey, there are 3 key stakeholders who will make it happen, right? There is first stakeholder is the government, right? The government has a big responsibility of defining the policies and initiating the reforms to make that happen. So what are the important areas they need to really commit themselves to? We have seen over a period of time, the ease of doing business ranking has continuously improved for the country. That is one important focus area. The government has a target of bringing that ranking within top 50. Let's see how it goes. But that will really drive a lot of opportunities for investments in the country, and that will actually fuel the overall growth and economic prosperity for the country. Overall, government spending is very, very important. The infrastructure development, even in investment in human capital development, education, sanitation, health, etc. These are the areas where India still lags a lot behind. Our ranking on the human capital is very low, and without providing the basic hygiene and basic aspects of the living experience, we will always have a problem in terms of moving forward in the journey. Then FDI is going to be an important piece in that, and government has been talking about Make in India. Self-determination has been the focus which has evolved over a period of time ever since we hit the pandemic. There has been initiatives on startup, etc. Now, these are the initiatives which government will take and which will enable the journey from a significant growth perspective as we move forward. Now, there's an element from industry perspective, right? We need export mindset industry. There's definitely the fuel element brings in a lot of import context to us, and that results into deficit, etc. But export mindset is very important. MSME and manufacturing are the areas and industries which will actually bring in the context differently for us in terms of making this entire journey possible. Now, here we are, the people, right? What is that which we need to drive? What do we need to contribute to make this journey possible? And the starting point for that is dream big. And I'll actually share with you where I was studying my senior management program from IIM Calcutta. I had a professor called Professor Ranjan Das, and he used to teach us corporate strategy. He taught us two things when he started teaching us this subject. The first thing he said, the corporate exists for wealth generation, which is reality, right? And which means that anybody who's part of that journey needs to make sure that there's a wealth generation which is happening at every stage for the organization. The second thing which he said, and that remained with me all the time, is that never look for seeking employment. Rather, look for opportunities to create employment. So your objective should not be that after your whatever education you're pursuing, whether you're coming from engineering background or management background, your objective should not be to actually get into a job, but you need to actually see that how many jobs can you create as part of the journey forward. And trust me, if you get into that space, and good thing is, over a period of time, we have seen a lot of enterprising perspective evolving from our young population, a lot of entrepreneurs who have come in. We talked about recently in media on the unicorns which have emerged in the last couple of years in big numbers in India. That has to evolve further. We have a lot of untapped potential in that space because traditionally and also as a cultural context, we have grown in our life. The majority of the Indians have grown in the life with the perspective of getting a job after the education gets over. Now we need to look at a different perspective of creating jobs for the others. And that will actually fuel the overall growth for the country and across the industries. The second important thing is, as a young population, how do we actually work towards leveraging technologies across all the industries? Today, when I see every other company, despite the fact that I come from technology industry, I find every other company is also a technology company across the industries. You go to the manufacturing, you see that they have applied bot or they have applied robotics process automation in managing the entire process in the shop floor. If you go to even any services space, you'll find that there's a lot of technology leverage which has been taken. In retail, the entire platform engineering is actually creating business opportunities, right? So technology is actually spreading everywhere. So how do we leverage technology across various industries and really bring in innovation as well as efficiency in delivering what we want to deliver to our countrymen as well as to the world and help the country to grow from an overall economic situation perspective. The third thing which we need to actually change and evolve our mindset on is the product innovation versus process innovation mindset. Typically Indians, even in technology industry where I come from, the larger chunk of the companies are actually in services business. How many, we take pride saying that CEO of Google is Indian, Microsoft is Indian, and so on and so forth, right? But really the question is how many Google, how many Microsoft have we started from India? And that is where the big gap we have. So we have entrepreneurship perspective, which is evolving, but are we actually getting into the more of efficiency side of this strategy, which is cost efficiency, or are we actually getting into the differentiated side of the strategy, which is all about product innovation, as well as creating the solutioning and bringing in the real new context in from an innovation perspective in the overall, offering context. Now, the fourth thing, if I were to talk about from people perspective, is the skill development, right? Now, in technology industry, last 2 years, we have seen evolution of new technologies and the usage of that. One is that there has been increased adoption of technology across different industries. There were technology skills like container, which we would have never heard before. Now we find so much of difficulty in terms of finding those talent for us. AI, ML, blockchain, cloud, etc. These are emerging technologies which have come up. Can you confirm if you can hear me, Dr. Anway?
Yes, sir, we are able to hear you.
Sure. So my screen was frozen. So I was, I could see any movement in the screen. So I was wondering if I'm still there. Or was it a message for me to say that, okay, I need to shut my mouth? Nevertheless, jokes apart. So, so the skill development is very important, both for academia to ensure that some of these technology skills which have come up, can they start training, imparting those to the the academia, at the academia level itself, and for the student also from a continuous learning point of view. I think since we have a limited time, I'll actually stop it here and we will actually collect the entire perspective towards the end. But let me actually go to the panelists here in an alphabetical sequence. And Agniwesh, I'll turn to you. You have been an expert in technology and digital space, in the technology industry in particular. And personally, since I know you, you are highly regarded HR professional in this space. So could you share your perspective about this topic? It would be good to capture what do you believe and what do you think is the road ahead for us to achieve and make this entire dream of 7 trillion possible for the country.
I think he got disconnected.
Oh, okay. Never mind. So possibly, Mallika, by the time Agniwesh comes back, can I turn to you, if you're fine?
Hang on. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, please, because Agniwesh is not here, and if you could actually take a lead and share your perspective and wisdom on this topic with all the participants.
No worries, not at all. And at any point in time, if you guys can't hear me, just do this so I know. I think it's a superbly interesting topic. And, when I received the invitation, the first thing I actually read, and I was noting this down, it says growth, innovation, sustainability, happiness, and well-being. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And I'm really glad that it's a lot. And sorry, I just saw Agniwesh pop in. So I'm going to ask him whether he would like to take it and then I come back, or do you want me to continue?
No, Mallika, let's continue with you and then we'll go to Agniwesh.
Okay, right. So I'm okay. Mallika, I'll take the thunder because I wanted to, talk about some economics because I studied economics, right? So I'm graduate in economics, so probably I can speak bits, some of, responsibility on how development happened. But over to you, Mallika. Sorry, my connection, I think I was bumped off. Over to you, then probably I can pitch in after you, Mallika. Go ahead.
Sure, no worries. I'll keep it short. I'll keep it to less than 10 minutes as Rajiv has asked us to. So this is an interesting topic, and I was really happy to see that when we talk economics, we don't talk about the growth of the country in the absence of other indicators like health and wellness. And I also feel that, whenever we talk to marketeers or whenever I talk to participants of new programs, and when I give them the word profit and purpose, and I say, can you just put them together? Usually they will draw up a coordinate. Purpose will be on one side and profit will be completely on the other side, as though profit and purpose cannot coexist. Whereas the truth is to the contrary. Some of the biggest companies, some of the biggest successes, sustainable successes have really happened because they have brought purpose and profit together. And Rajiv, you mentioned something in your conversation and used the word stakeholder versus shareholder. And I think that's really important because in many companies, we're talking about shareholder value, which means it doesn't matter, if the employees are not paid or if the entire partnerships are not well done, if you're not doing something right by the planet or people, as long as your shareholder value is good, you are good. Well, that's certainly not true. And I think if we have to move into this economy that we're really painting a picture of, we have to move away from shareholder value to creating stakeholder value, which means our own employees that we work with, the communities that we are all a part of, the partnerships that we are supposed to create, foster, and nurture. So I would really want to see a future where people are very comfortable using purpose and profit together very easily. And one of the first things that I always feel that in order to do so, you've got to create products, create services that solve consequential problems. Don't think about the ad you want to make. Think about the actual behavior you want to change. Think about the actual difference you want to make in people's lives. You have Sandeep sitting here right now. And Sandeep, I was reading about Trade India. It's a fantastic platform which creates, it's a product of consequences, actually delivers, meaning actually delivers value to people and improves people's lives. And those are the kind of things that we should be looking at if we are looking at creating an economy, the type we are envisaging. If you look at companies like Tesla, I mean, not only is it fantastic, not only does it deliver great shareholder value, it is towards a future which is sustainable, committed to climate, committed to renewable energy sources. So they do bring purpose and profit together. So that's the first point I want to make. So be comfortable in thinking that purpose and profit exist together. If you think of companies like Coursera, change the future of edutech, and they bring purpose and profit together. If you think about companies like Airbnb, they bring purpose and profit together. So when you say, doing good is not the, it goes almost at cross purposes at being financially successful, it's not true. When you are good, when you do the right thing, that's when you are sustainably successful in the long term. So purpose and profit going together. The second thing I do want to mention is, creating these kind of changes in the everyday and in the every way. So it doesn't have to be a one-off CSR initiative that you do once in a while. Let's do something fantastic for the community. Let's do something fantastic for the environment, and then forget about it for the rest of the year. It doesn't work like that. And today we are in an environment where people are sufficiently intelligent, and they have, not that people weren't intelligent before, they were, but today with social media, people are, they're writing about their thoughts. A very good example is, Audi. Audi released this ad some 3 or 4 years back, if I'm not mistaken. And the entire communication was about, creating a future for our daughter. And they hired this really big Hollywood star, and he was talking about me and my daughter and how we're going to create such a fantastic future. And so created this big picture of doing something right for the girls. And then it was discovered that Audi doesn't pay the women employees as much as it pays the men in their own company. The women leadership is really weak. They are not paid as well. So it was completely inequitable, and the entire community called Audi out on it, and it received a bashing that it really deserved to. So we are also in a place where people are awake to all these kind of things. So we can't be doing good once in a while. We've got to be doing this all the time. It's got to be baked into our practice. I don't know how many of you, amongst the students, everyone there, the company REI, Recreational Equipment Incorporation, it's a really big company, along with companies like Patagonia, along with companies like North Face. Now, they produce outdoor exercise equipment. And when it was Black Friday, instead of encouraging people to buy more and more conspicuous consumption, what they did was they did quite the opposite. They actually shut off all their stores, and they encouraged people to go out, and they said, do not buy stuff if you don't need it. Don't buy our stuff if you don't need to. So they actually had a very anti-consumerist slant to all their work, to all their activities. And they are rewarded by their shareholder value, by the stakeholder value that they have. Patagonia, REI, North Face, for every job that they put out, they receive more than 9,000 to 10,000 applications. There is almost zero turnover. No one, once they join the company, people don't leave the company. They offer phenomenal benefits. So it is living your purpose every day in every possible way. And that's really important. The third thing I did want to mention, and I was writing this down, was committing to employee wellness as well. Rajiv, I forgot the name of the professor you spoke about, who spoke about it's not about creating this. Yes. Yeah. So not about just, don't just talk about shareholder value, but also create opportunities. And there's an entire bunch of, John McKay, who's the founder of Conscious Capitalism, talks a lot about this. Raj Sisodia speaks a lot about conscious capitalism, where they say it is really about stakeholder value. So don't achieve all that success at the cost of your own employees. How about if you really believe in equality, how about giving men paternity leave as well? Why is the job of parenting only that of a woman? I have a 14-year-old son, and I remember when I had him, I'm like, why the hell does my husband's company not offer him any paternity leave? He got 3 days, which is a joke. I'm like, seriously, 3 days? That is a joke, man. You got to be giving more, because is it only a woman's job? Is it not a man's job? So you've got to look at employees. Should we be looking at mental health benefits? Is it not all right to tell someone that I'm just not feeling all right? I'm mentally not fully there, and so can I take a day off? Or do I really need to create a big lie to get a day off? So can we communicate that to people that we really care about you? If we look at companies like Starbucks, not only does it offer a lot of benefits to people for reskilling, upskilling, it gives equity shares. Maternity leave is given, paternity leave is given. Companies like Google, even Johnson & Johnson and Starbucks, they give you leave even if you are not the birth parent. So if you're adopting a child, they understand that's what parenting is all about. So do commit to employee welfare, and then also making planet positive moves, because people are going to catch you on that if you're not. And if you're really magnanimous, do commit to partnerships. We have competitors like Patagonia, North Face, REI. I keep saying these are competitors, but they have come together to form a conservation alliance to protect the environment. So that's what I really see the smart players doing, coming together for the right cause, bringing purpose and profit together. And that's how I think we will be on the roadmap to this insane amount, not just 5 trillion, 7 trillion that we're talking about. So that's my 2 cents that I had to offer up.
Thank you so much, Mallika. Very beautifully put. And while companies have evolved and they have started taking ESG into consideration, which is all about sustainability, social impact, and governance, and that really fits in well from your context of profit and purpose and what impact you're going to be creating for the human lives. And you beautifully summarized and shared the stories on the equitable context. And I think collectively, all of it will help companies and industries to grow and evolve in this journey and move forward to enable India to become, powerful from economic context point of view. So thank you for that. With this, I'll actually move to you, Agniwesh, and will request if you could kindly share your thoughts in the next 10-12 minutes, please.
Yeah, so I'll try to do a bit justice of this topic. We'll go to the economy first, right? After India's independence, we'll talk about it, that how we started our, our formal economy, the way the government started the economy started from the first five-year plan. So if you look at the focus initially was what? Agriculture, right? The first 5-year plan was talking about agriculture, where we invested a lot in agriculture, build dams, build canals, make sure that we did that. And then in 5 years, what was the realistic expectation of the government was to that we will grow by 2.1%. And to the surprise, they grew by 3.6%. So in second planning, they decided that let's do one thing. Let's go for industrialization now. So you will see from 1957 to 62, between that period, a lot of huge industries started. Okay, and what they realized that the industry started, but self-resiliency on our food became low. Then the 3rd-year plan, they started again, and meantime there was China war and stuff like this. All the external forces happened. Then 3rd time, they decided that let's have a balancing act, because we cannot do all industries. We have to look, focus on our agricultures, right? So we started a balanced economy there. Okay. Now again, which Rajiv was talking about, the coming to our liberalization period, which happened in 90 and 95. They say that this was one of the best period of our Indian economy, where we actually leaped towards the next goal. Now we're coming to 2020, 2022, where we are aspiring to go for, 7 trillion. See, if you look, if anybody who understands maths, right, and power of compounding, if you have heard about it, right, see, if I grow by 8%, right, if my GDP grows by 8%, automatically in a couple of years, we'll just double it. So today we are in 3 years, 3 trillion economy. In next 5 years, we'll just go and become 6 trillion economy. That's the simple mathematics. What are the levers for us to make sure that we, go to that level, right? Should go to that level. So this is macro and macro, both level that we need to increase. First thing that I will be talking about that, unless we have got consumption power, right, at least the purchasing power parity, which impacts all of us, right? Imagine that if I don't have money to invest, if I don't have money to buy, if I don't have money to, enjoy the products and good, probably I will not be able to, get, the buyer capacity up. So first important thing, any policymaker has to think of bringing certain value in the pockets of the people, on the customer, so that they go and purchase. If you purchase, then again, all the circle industry will start and producing goods for you. Otherwise, if there is no demand, and you know that if there is no demand, there is no manufacturing, no jobs, nothing, right? So this is all based on demand economy that we need to do. So this was my initial thought, Rajiv and Mallika, on the topic that we look at. The major leverage what we look at on the economy, I think Rajiv has already taken all my thing that which I thought that I'll speak, that levers of GDPs like agriculture, industry, services, right? These are all the industry that we have. So I will not repeat it. I will try to give you certain parameters on how we are going to, and what exactly we are doing, right? So entire ecosystem, look at the way we started liberalization, right? The license Raj was over. We also look at how FDIs were starting flowing. The confidence of the West, as in the confidence of the investor increased in us. IT was the biggest boons. I remember that I think I worked in at least 17, 18 countries. I stayed there for a long time, worked across the globe. And what we have seen from 2000 on to till, let's say, last time I was in 2022 in Amsterdam. So in this 18, 19 years of my, continuous travel to different overseas, what we have seen that IT has given a great recognition for India as a talent. Okay. So people started trusting us, right? And then what happened? Now investors started saying that, hey, can we start building captives in India? Because we will get a local talent. Why we look at these? So you see all your metros started struggling, all the IT cities started, because they realized that on the lower cost, great talent, you can get it here and you can start contributing to the economy, right? And look at all this stuff. So IT grew exponentially. Government also gave a lot of focus to that. And then rest of all industries were also picking up, right? And then our export-import ratio, right? If you look at the way you are exporting, import, the balance of payment we talk about in economics term, we're still on deficit part, right? Because we were still a consumption, right? We're consumer, we're not producing things more. Not to blame anybody. Probably the confidence of the West to invest in India was less because we were not able to show them the showcase actual. But if you look at the way our unicorn started, right, we might be reading the memes of Ashni Govert talking about, or somebody talking about that every 5th day we are creating one unicorn, right? So I think that in 2022 till now, I think almost 40-45 days we created 8 unicorns, right? So opportunity is huge, right? Government is giving the great ecosystem, confidence is coming back to us, and then we have the right talent. And as Rajiv was also talking about demographic dividend, which is like, we have got huge youth population who are opportunity creators, right? So probably, and when I go to colleges, when I go to talk to the students, I say, why you are looking only for the job? If you know that you can solve the problem, 3-4 of you meet together and try to solve the problem. And probably those who might have binged watched the Shark Tank India, you might have seen that these young guys, creating, have some ideas to do. They believe in their ideas, and then they were making the products for do that. So this all the opportunity, and the entire ecosystem. See, the entire ecosystem is like from a single window clearance to set up the organization, probably getting some tax holiday, production link incentives. A lot of things is coming in from the government push to do that. What is the biggest challenge with us? Right, and probably all the folks with me on the screen, they agree that biggest challenge that do we have the employable youth? do we have always the right talent, right? Are we struggling to do that? And then what we are trying to do that. So I think 2013, 2012, the government started something called NSDC, National Skill, because they realized that this will be a burden if you are not able to engage and probably skill these youth, right? Because we are the future. We can solve the manpower of the world. Right? We can send our plumbers to electric engineers to IT professionals across the globe. Right? We can be a greatest. Our human population should not be a burden, but it will be an asset to us that we can serve the manpower of the world. And this is what we did. In certain pocket we did, but you look at how we are trying to put our people across the board and do that. But still, the major gap is the skill, right? We don't have the right skills, our focus. So if I need to look at my industry to grow exponentially, so what are the few levers that we need to look at? One is the right talent. Do we have the right education? Do we have the right healthcare, which Mallika spoke beautifully about it, that we need to focus on a well-being and stuff, collective well-being. Do we have the right infrastructure, right? Do we have the right infrastructure? Do we have the ease of business and also stability of the politics, right? So look at, if when we do a lot of customer interaction, and probably when we do the strategy of making you to next level, what we see that what is your stability in this account? Do you think that and think about things? Anybody who may be hesitant in investing in Afghanistan or Pakistan at this point of time because they perceive that it will be a dangerous situation to go in. Even in Ukraine, investor will try to stay away from Ukraine. The same thing when this COVID thing came, people start shying away from China. Why? Because they realize that this is not going to be sustainable. And India had a chance. A lot of geopolitical forces, a lot of geo-economical forces, they try to stall the story of India. We try to present a right picture that, yes, we are ready. We have the infrastructure. We have the people. Come and make it with us, right? And make with us. And look at our product. Second thing is the quality, right? As Rajiv was saying, that we take a lot of pride in saying that we are Google. We are, we Indians are ruling almost 10 of the best of the organizations in the world. But why we are not making it there, right? So probably, Rajiv, I am very positive. You will see in next 10 years or 15 years, because there were the advanced economies anyways, right? The advanced economies, they will never let any other economy to grow, right? This is the fact. A rich person will never let other person to come up with that level. That and they will try everything. So what Google did, Google bought Indians, right? Google bought our talent, right? You might have heard that recently. You heard the news that a small guy from IIT Guwahati, they hacked the Google for 30 seconds and 40 seconds, and Google is paying 3.6 crores to him or something like that we keep hearing, right? So it's like build or buy. See, at India, we are on building stage, right? So we build, somebody else is buying us, right? So beat our talent, beat our services and stuff, right? So road to the 7 trillion economy is important only when our youth is empowered, right? When only we have got opportunities at our hand, only when we are determined enough to make it happen, right? Otherwise, if you sit on Netflix, if you sit on Amazon Prime and probably binge watch it, we may miss the bus. Our issue is to look at opportunities across. Okay, even you're a student, you can find out opportunity, you can do and do that. Like there are a lot of opportunities coming in. So investment is important. And why investment will be happening? When people are confident on our capabilities. So building our capabilities in terms of infrastructure, in terms of academics, in terms of our employability, in terms of our skills, will be detrimental for us to move to next level. So probably Rajiv, we come back and we'll talk more. These were my initial thoughts on how we are going to make economy. I am very positive. Even if you don't do it, if you are growing by 8% after some time, on the compounding of interest, as a student of economics, will grow anyways, reach that this percent. Because if you look at this, we were on 2 trillion economy, we just compounded the growth by 8% and we made to 3, and probably in a couple of years we'll go to 5 and 7. And we are on the right path. We are on the right path. Only thing that we should, the sense of urgency with all of us is that we should not miss the bus, right? Each one has to play their role in developing this country. Each one has to play a very important role in bringing the value to us. Otherwise, we will again miss the bus, and probably, we'll try to see if we can, defer this, our ambitions to go to next level and stuff, because we are self-reliant, right? We make a lot of things. We did a lot of progress. We got a lot of global recognition in terms of our healthcare facilities, vaccine manufacturing, right? The capacity building, everything that we are getting it, right? Now it's the time that our youth and collective ecosystem along with the government, all the infrastructure has to come together and make our India much better in terms of economic growth and progress. Yeah. So
Thank you so much, Agniwesh. I think you have given a 360-degree holistic overview on this particular topic. And I know the power, I understand the power of compounding. And, you know, Agni, that's a mantra you follow for generating the wealth, I know. So jokes apart, thank you so much, Agniwesh. I really enjoyed listening to you. Going to Sandeep. Sandeep, why don't you share your perspective? I know Agniwesh has already covered a lot of ground, so I'm sure you'll still have some unique perspective to talk about and share here.
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv. Before I start from your, that thought process of job creation and job seeker. So when I asked my 11-year-old daughter today, okay, what do you want to become? She said that, I want to be a job creator, not a job seeker. Okay, very nice. So that's clear. This is New India, right? Entrepreneurship starts at 11 years, and schools at class 6. So she's not saying that I want to become a doctor or an engineer. She's saying today that I want to be a job creator, right? That sets us that our generation is on the right path and we are in the right direction, which Agniwesh is saying. We have, made lots of progress there, yeah. And here is where we say that, like Agniwesh said, that for 8 unicorns in 45 days, it's true. And in fact, if you see the last 2 quarters, we have 52 unicorns valued at almost 1 billion. Okay, and these are all digital economy and digital, India, which I'll talk about. And all these 52 unicorns have all come from technology and digital India, right? That's what is the vision, right? So primarily, most of the topics and most of the points have been covered. I'll more focus on how digitalization and also MSME can help in this very, very thought process of what trillion-dollar economy will look like, okay, and how digital will set the progress there, okay. Lots have been spoken about that. We have already there in $3.1 trillion economy, which Agniwesh suggests. We are growing at 8% or 8.9, and some focus is also there that it will be 9.2% in the current fiscal year. That's what is GDP looks like. But why has this grown and what is the opportunity? Okay, I'll throw lots of data points here, in terms of the digital India, because this is what my core expertise is in terms of how digital is growing and how SME in India is growing. And I'll put some perspective about Trade India also. Okay, and thanks all. And this has happened in last 2 years. There has been an exponential increase. Okay, and thanks to Government of India's initiatives like Atmanirbhar, Bharat Abhiyan, which has helped to evolve small startups from small cities also, right? And you see some unique innovations coming in. Yeah, like Agniwesh talked about, production link incentive, which has helped manufacturing primarily more foreign investment in India, and also has helped MSMEs to scale. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about that. And so, how has the digital changed? In last 2 years, just to give you some context here. So, if you see how the internet has changed, let's see the internet per se, okay? So 6.5 years, the internet universe has become from almost 100 million to almost 1 billion. So it took only 7.5 years from 100 million to 1 billion, okay? But if today's context, it might not take 7.5 years. It might take only, 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, not more than that, to be the next billion, okay? Yeah. In India, we have almost, almost 1.20 billion, mobile phone users in India, and out of this, more than 800 million are using internet today. Okay, and why this is very, very important, because today there are two bifurcations: one rural India and there is urban India. Okay, and the growth will happen from both the India, not rural and urban. It has to be holistic India as a whole. Okay, and this will happen only when India is connected, and how it will get connected because of the internet, right? And today, if you see that all the large B2B or B2C commerce platform, all the maximum traffic or the consumers are coming from smaller cities. And the consumers are coming from smaller cities, like, the consumption which Agniwesh was talking about, how the consumption is happening, okay? Is it happening equally in all the parts of India? Currently, no, right? But if it happens equally, the economy will automatically grow. It's like pyramid, right? It go from bottom to top, yeah? So that's a huge opportunity which. And when it's come to digitization, payment plays a big role. Today, if you see how the payment is growing today, the whole payment ecosystem, right? Yeah. And we have seen enormous success in the UPI per se. India, that's why I say India is growing, India is progressing. It's because of the new, so UPI itself, in January 22, we have seen almost 8.32 lakh crore of transactions which has happened, which is like, has grown from 6.3 lakh crores. I mean, can you see the enormous usage of payment today? This shows how digital is growing. Again, I'll show lots of numbers there, yeah. And because this digitization of India, okay, it's been estimated that digital India will contribute around 60 million workforce. So like Rajiv and Agniwesh and everybody talked about workforce. So 60 million workforce only from Digital India, right? Initiative, okay, and that is where key upskilling will come into place, okay, because it's not about only connecting but also upskill them. Yeah. So how does MSME ecosystem looks like? So I'll talk a little bit of MSME ecosystem because we have been working very closely. So Trade India, primarily old company working with MSMEs. So in India, 63 million SMEs are there. Okay, out of the 63 million MSMEs, 20 years we were able to educate 6 million SMEs on the platform. 6 million SMEs are using Trade India today and digitally, okay? But the positive part is, in last 2 years, during the COVID times, primarily, there is 48% increase in people, SMEs using digital today. That's a huge, see the adoption which is happening, okay? Yeah. There is a part of it. Out of the 63 million SMEs in India, only 40% are digitally enabled. So in order to, this very, very progressive and very large thought of 7 trillion economy, we need to make that this 60% or which is like almost, of this SMBs have to be digitally enabled. And how it can be digitally enabled? Of course, Government of India is taking lots of initiatives there, having technology hub and all those things. But it, Agniwesh said, we have to accelerate this upskilling and skilling processes, and it has to be on a Government of India initiative, okay? And why MSME matters a lot. Today, MSME, contributes almost 30% of the GDP. It's a huge number. And I know Sanjeev must be saying, Sandeep, you're taking all my numbers because you have worked very closely with MSME, okay? So 30% of the GDP is contributed to MSMEs in India. And out of this 30%, they are providing almost 120 million employees. And this 30, just imagine 120 million employment is a huge number, and they can be a roadmap to grow, India's jobless economy, which we are talking about. So they will be a primarily contributor toward creating a great workforce, okay? And when it comes to 7 trillion, I'll just try to break it, So it's like it's been forecasted, 1 trillion contributed by digital initiative, and there is also more in exports, like 1 trillion will be contributed by exports, okay? And out of this, today, 45% of the exports is being contributed by MSME in India. Just imagine, 45% and 33% in manufacturing, okay? So it's a humongous, opportunity and the kind of contribution MSME is doing today, okay? Out of the 63 million SMEs in India, 20% are in rural India, okay? Now this 20% rural India, what we need to do? So we have to empower them. The first thing is that, how to empower them. One is giving technology, giving them, if you see today, we also struggle when we have small SMEs come out, smaller cities, they don't have the right bandwidth, no broadband connection, they don't have internet, they are not educated, how to do things, So some program has to be there so that, this 20% rural SMBs can be educated there, okay? Now, how is this MSMEs contributing today? If you see, MSMEs are contributing in terms of, if you talk about exports, all the non-traditional products are being exported by MSMEs of India, okay? So when I'm talking about non-traditional products like sports goods, ready-made garments, and plastics, and so on and so forth. And also, these MSMEs are also contributing towards, helping large enterprises, okay, with raw materials or there are some large, big companies, I don't want to mention the name here, but these companies automobile companies, they buy parts from MSMEs in India, and we can see that, when we see the queries coming on our platform. Okay, so so government have to look at it. They have to look very, very futuristic about achieving the $7 trillion, dollar economy. It's important that their focus be MSMEs. Okay. Now, what are the challenges MSMEs are facing today? First challenge is, like I said, obsolete technology, right? They don't have the right technology. Okay. Second is they do not have access to institutional finances. Okay. So credit is basically they are looking at. And government of India has taken lots of initiatives there, to be very frank. Okay, like access to credit, 50 minutes loan, lots of 500 crores, 200 crores, 2,000 crores, so much of about. But 70% of the MSMEs are unregistered today. I mean, they are all unregistered, and they don't have the right kind of documents there. So to get away this, so some initiatives have to take and make sure that they are registered, and right institutional financing is being done to these MSMEs so that they can grow within their ecosystem. Okay. So what will be the key enablers? So how the 7 trillion economy, what will be the key enablers? Everybody has talked about, right? But I will talk more about the MSME per se. So we have to empower MSMEs. Okay. Second, transforming the education and having more skill, landscape for them. Okay. And secondly, we need to have a foundation. So I just have divided this digital initiative into 3 things. Okay. One is digital foundation, digital reach, and digital value. So if you have to make this MSMEs to perform, we have to divide this into 3 digital initiative into 3 parts. When I talk about digital foundation, basically, having a universal coverage towards the digital identity authentication, and, a constant framework where, their cybersecurity and all those aspects will be taken care of, because this is a much larger affair today, right? Data protection and all. Yeah? We need to have a large, like Rajiv has discussed, like we have to have we have to build the largest global skilled workers for digital and emerging technologies. When it comes to digital reach, we will make sure that we need to connect unserved and underserved people with affordable, high-speed internet. And also bring some universal digital literacy, so that is very, very, which is missing in India today. Okay, so I mean, so people talk about digital, people talk about technology, but there is no literacy there. Okay, they don't understand. I'll just give an example. There are lots of UPI fraud which is happening today. Okay, so if you see this UPI fraud, the fraud does call that customer and say that, hey, I want to transfer some payment, and just can you click this link and take the acceptance. So that also the SMBs at the rural Indias are not aware of that. If you have to receive payment, you send the link. The other person will not send the link. Right? So lots of frauds which is happening there. Okay, so that digital literacy is very, very important. And finally, on the digital value, we need to have a very good ecosystem for building more e-commerce and electronic sectors. Opportunity for more new digital startups. Okay, and also we must be a engine of the world for data analytics. So like Rajiv said, people always talk about Google is run by Indian, Microsoft is run by Indian, and I can promise you, Rajiv, that you will see that in B2B e-commerce, we will be the first to be there in the world ecosystem, because the way we are working, not only I'm talking about our company, the whole in India, there are lots of startups versus everybody is working in the B2B ecosystem. And I think we will be a global player very soon. And if you see the whole B2B ecosystem in India, none of the global player is able to penetrate in India. B2C is there, but not in B2B. Okay. And I think we are, because SMB in India is little tricky to handle, and we have cracked that algorithm or code how to handle the Indian SMBs. I think we can easily crack that for the world, where they are more digital savvy and they understand digital. Okay. And finally, what is the way forward? I would see that MSMEs should contribute more if we have to grow. Like 29% of GDP is being contributed by, like I said, in SMBs, it should increase to 50% maybe. Okay, if 45% exports, then it should be more 60% exports. Okay, so government should look at how this can be done, and of course, MSME also should look at how to create more job opportunities for people of India, also play a bigger role in Made in India campaign. And to all the audience and the students who are attending this session, I'd like to end from where I started. Okay, that don't be a job seeker, be a job creator, have an entrepreneurship mindset, and I think India will definitely reach out to the target which we are talking about, the topic which are talking about 7 trillion economy. I believe it will be very true if each and every individual in India think this way, right? That they will play their part in this vision of becoming a 7 trillion economy. So that's it from my side, and we can take it forward as it when required. More queries on that.
Thank you, Sandeep. I think your larger part of your story was baseline on digital, and I completely agree with you in terms of the journey forward has to be powered by digital in any industry, any space and segment. At the same time, it's also important how do we actually create better experiences for our people across rural India as well as the township and smaller cities. So thank you, Sandeep, for sharing your thoughts and also covering aspects on MSME. I'll actually move on to Sanjeev. Sanjeev, I know it's always a challenge to be the last in a panel discussion on a particular topic, but I'm sure you'll still have something hidden with you, which will be the pearl of the wisdom for this session. So over to you, Sanjeev.
Thank you, Rajiv, and all the 180 participants who are bearing with us in the last 1.5 hours. I'll use both with the permission of chair. I'll use, I'm Bindlish, so I will use Hindi and English both. So please permit me to use Hindi also, because we are talking about the India economy in the next 10 years to 6 trillion, 7 trillion. I'm very much passionate with the very idea about India, actually. When I started my career in 93, तो नौकरी नहीं मिलती थी और सॉफ्टवेयर में मैंने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में इंजीनियरिंग किया तो नौकरी की बहुत कमी होती थी, जॉब प्लेसमेंट की. आज की डेट में नहीं है, कैंपस प्लेसमेंट तक नहीं होता था. Most of my classmates, they are settled in US, UK, Europe, Singapore, because that was the time when everyone was looking for the job in software. और my family, they said कि नहीं आपको इंडिया में रहना है because हमारा फैमिली का जरूरत है. So then I thought, let me find the very idea of how to survive in India. और पिछले 20-25 साल मैंने इंडियन बैंक्स को ऑफलाइन से ऑनलाइन किया. रूरल बैंक, कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स, नेशनलाइज्ड बैंक्स सब लोग ऑफलाइन होते थे. हम बैंक में जाते थे ब्रांच में, तो काउंटर पे जाकर के पासबुक भरते थे, पैसे निकालते थे. So I have seen that journey from the manual ledgers to the ATMs, to the net banking, online banking. बैंक्स को आपस में कैसे कनेक्ट करना है स्विच के थ्रू, सो दैट आप एक बैंक के कस्टमर लेकिन दूसरे बैंक से पैसे निकाल पाए नेशनली इंटरनेशनली. तो इंटरबैंक एटीएम स्विचेस आए, पैसे निकालते हुए एटीएम से मशीन से डर होता था. अभी तो डिपॉजिट की बात भी हो रही है, हम डिजिटल वैलेट्स पे आ गए हैं. उसके बाद पेटीएम यूज करने लगे हैं, डिफरेंट वैलेट्स टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई है, और हम लोग गूगल पे और सो मेनी थिंग्स वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, बिकॉज देयर इज अ लेयर बिलो दिस. जो हम लोग बात कर रहे थे अभी, संदीप ने बताया कि डिजिटलाइजेशन होना चाहिए. तो डिजिटलाइजेशन की जो इंडिया की जो स्टोरी थी, उसमें मैंने पार्टिसिपेट किया पिछले 20 साल में. 95 ऑनवर्ड्स जब बैंक्स ने कंप्यूटराइजेशन स्टार्ट किया, तो ऑफलाइन से ऑनलाइन आने में आई हैड वर्क फॉर द टाटा ग्रुप, Oracles, most of the time startups also. In between, I did my startup on data analytics. Now I'm supporting the many startups as an investor, as a PE funder. So I'm saying that India की जब बात होती है तो मेरी रगों में वो जो पेट्रोटिज्म खून दौड़ने लगता है. जब आपने कहा ना कि $7 trillion इकोनॉमी बनानी है, so this is the topic which I say is close to my heart. वो कैसे बनाना है, क्यों बनेगा, क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, हम सब ने डिस्कस की अभी पिछले 1 घंटे के अंदर. बेसिक पिलर्स हमने बात की कि हम कंज्यूमर इकोनॉमी है, तो नेचुरली जब 130 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन है तो कोई ना कोई तो कंज्यूम करेगा. Population is curse, but population is a gift also to the economy. क्योंकि वो जो कर्ज था वो आज गिफ्ट बन गया. आज हमारे पास 30 करोड़ यंगस्टर्स हैं काम करने के लिए, 20 से 30 साल की उम्र के, जो किसी कंट्री के पास नहीं है वर्ल्ड में. और दे हैव लीड द डायरेक्शन वेयर टू गो। जो हमने काफी पैनलिस्ट ने बताया कि अपना स्टार्टअप करो, प्रॉब्लम्स को ढूंढो, तो देयर इज अ ब्रेन अवेलेबल, देयर इज अ मैन पावर अवेलेबल। दूसरा हमने कहा कि साहब दूसरे कंट्रीज में चैलेंजेस हैं और दूसरे कंट्रीज के अंदर, लेकिन अपने पास पॉपुलेशन जो है वो कर्ज नहीं, उसको गिफ्ट मान के चलिए। तो जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं हमारी, उसको हम गिफ्ट में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं अगर, तो इंडिया हमारा 3 से 7 नहीं 10 भी जाएगा, 20 भी जाएगा। और ये सफर शुरू हो चुका है, हम इस सफर पे चल चुके हैं। ये मत मानिए कि हमने चलना आज शुरू किया है या करना है। मैं आपको कुछ एग्जाम्पल शेयर करूंगा कि जिससे आपको पता चलेगा कि हम इस सफर में जो $7 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी का जो हम सपना देख रहे हैं, ड्रीम देख रहे हैं, ये ड्रीम नहीं है, दिस इज नॉट सपना। इस सफर में हम शुरू हो चुके हैं और हम पहुंचने वाले हैं। 10 साल में पहुंचेंगे, 15 साल में पहुंचेंगे, 20 साल में पहुंचेंगे या जल्दी पहुंच जाएंगे। मैं कुछ माइलस्टोन शेयर करता हूं, बिकॉज कोई भी सफर जब हम शुरू करते हैं, दिल्ली से बॉम्बे जाना है तो रास्ते में नेचुरली मथुरा आना चाहिए, कोटा आना चाहिए, गुजरात आना चाहिए। अगर वो नहीं आएंगे तो बॉम्बे नहीं पहुंचेंगे। तो कुछ माइलस्टोन मैं आपको शेयर करता हूं जो $7 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी के रास्ते में इंडिया जो चल पड़ा है। कुछ माइलस्टोन जो मैंने देखे हैं अपने कैरियर में और मैं देख रहा हूं, आप भी देखेंगे, आप भी क्योंकि उसी इकोनॉमी का पार्ट है। फर्स्ट माइलस्टोन आई विल से, जो हमने जो बात किया डिजिटल इकोनॉमी होने का, माने सिंपल भाषा में, आई एम नॉट इकोनॉमिक स्टूडेंट, आई एम इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट, तो मैं लेमैन की भाषा में आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि इसको इनफॉर्मल इकोनॉमी को फॉर्मल बनाना है हमें। वो कैसे बना रहा है इंडिया? हमने देखा कि बहुत सारे हमारे वर्कर्स एमएसएमई में काम करते थे, साइकिल पे जाते थे, ब्लू कॉलर वर्कर जिसको हम लोग की भाषा में बोलते हैं। साइकिल पे जाना है, कैश में तनख्वाह मिलेगी, कोई पीएफ अकाउंट नहीं है, कोई हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस नहीं है। तो वो इनफॉर्मल जो इकोनॉमी हमारी कंट्री के अंदर जो सबसे बड़ा पार्ट है, उसको फॉर्मल इकोनॉमी में कैसे कन्वर्ट करेंगे। तो हमने कुछ इंडियन गवर्नमेंट के माइलस्टोन देखे। नोटबंदी हुई, डीमोनेटाइजेशन जिसको इंग्लिश में इकोनॉमिक्स की भाषा में बोलते हैं। लोगों ने पॉलिटिकली बोला नहीं होना चाहिए, होना चाहिए, बोथ साइड्स। बट आई एम टेलिंग यू दिस इज द गिफ्ट। Demonetization was a gift because lot of informal economy was converted into the formal economy for the economics. Because वो पैसा जो है सिस्टम में आया, बैंकिंग सिस्टम में आया, और बैंकिंग सिस्टम में आ गया है तो मूव कर रहा है। It is moving from one hand to other, one company to other company. So this is the one milestone. This is the accelerator for the growth of the economy. Second हमने देखा पिलर जीएसटी। बहुत सारे एमएसएमई ने चलाया कि सब महीने में 2 बार रिटर्न भरनी पड़ती है, 3 बार रिटर्न भरनी पड़ती है। जीएसटी क्यों आ गया? बट जीएसटी आने से इकोनॉमी को फायदा हुआ, बूस्ट हुआ, बिकॉज आज की डेट में जीएसटी कलेक्शन गवर्नमेंट का तो 1 लाख करोड़ से ऊपर हो ही रहा है। मगर जीएसटी होने से क्या हुआ, एमएसएमई को और इंडस्ट्री को, आपको अपनी जो है लोन लेने में आसानी हो गई। आपको अपनी रेवेन्यू का मालूम है, आपको अपनी कॉस्ट का मालूम है। किसी भी बैंक को अपने किसी भी जीएसटी नंबर लेने के बाद ग्रॉस मार्जिन मालूम पड़ जाता है। अगर किसी बिजनेस की हेल्थ अच्छी है, जीएसटी से आपको डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती, लोन इजी मिल जाता है, अप्रूवल हो जाता है। तो जीएसटी इज एक्चुअली एक्सेलरेटर फॉर द इजी लोन अप्रूवल्स फॉर द एमएसएमई एंड द लार्ज कॉर्पोरेट्स। और उससे जो गवर्नमेंट का टैक्स कलेक्शन है वो तो इंप्रूव हो ही रहा है। इसके बाद पीएफ का कंप्लायंस हमने देखा, बहुत कॉर्पोरेट्स में पीएफ का कंप्लायंस बहुत अच्छा था। छोटे छोटे कंपनीज के अंदर हम लोग क्या करते थे, एम्प्लॉइज को कैश पे रख लिया, लो सैलरी पे, लेस देन द मिनिमम वेजेस, पीएफ का कोई कंप्लायंस नहीं, कोई पीएफ नहीं करेगा। बट गवर्नमेंट हैज नाउ इंश्योरिंग दैट पीएफ कंप्लायंस विल बी देयर इवन फॉर द एमएसएमई। 4-5 एम्प्लॉइज हैं तब भी उसको पीएफ रोल में डालिए आप, उसका पीएफ कटेगा तो वी विल नो व्हाट इज द काउंट ऑफ द इनफॉर्मल वर्कफोर्स वी हैव। और गवर्नमेंट की कंप्लायंस इंप्रूव होती है उसके ऊपर जो है। अभी 2 और उसके अंदर कंप्लायंस के अंदर आने हैं जो मैं थोड़ा सेंसिटिव टॉपिक्स हैं। बट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज थिंकिंग टू रेगुलराइज द बेनामी प्रॉपर्टीज। लॉट ऑफ आवर इकोनॉमी इज स्टक इन द बेनामी प्रॉपर्टीज, चाहे की सोर्स कोई भी है, कुछ भी है, मगर प्रॉपर्टीज के अंदर जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है गवर्नमेंट की, कॉर्पोरेट्स की, पॉलिटिशियंस की, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स की, दैट हैज टू बी रेगुलराइज्ड। एंड गवर्नमेंट इज सीरियसली कंसिडरिंग to convert the Benami properties into the mainstream systems. Very soon, maybe in the coming months and years, we'll see the bill coming in. The next will be the regularization of the gold economy into the mainstream. Because a lot of gold is locked into the lockers. हर Indian woman का first love husband नहीं होता है, gold होता है। सोने से ज्यादा प्यार है उनको। तो जो गोल्ड है वो लॉकर्स में कैद है। it is not earning money. Because as India, we are spending a lot of forex on we import the defense equipments, we import the medicine, we import the gold, we import the petrol. तो गोल्ड जो है हमारे लॉकर्स में जाके बंद हो जाता है. अगर वो गोल्ड को मेन स्ट्रीम इकोनॉमी में आ जाता है तो जो 7 ट्रिलियन है ये $20 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी हो सकती है. And government is seriously considering this, how to bring that gold. That's why they got the gold bonds. You must have seen the last 4-5 years converting the gold, buying the gold into the gold bonds. Instead of physical gold, you buy the bonds. And very soon you will see the different measures coming from the government, which will bring this physical gold locked into the lockers back to the economics. ये कुछ गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से जो फॉर्मलाइजेशन ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स के मैंने कुछ माइलस्टोन आपसे शेयर किए. दूसरा जो है कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में कुछ रिफॉर्म्स हो रहे हैं, ऑलरेडी हो रहे हैं इस डायरेक्शन में. जैसे हमने देखा एमएसएमई के लिए 2 साल में पिछले कोरोना के दौरान काफी जो है गवर्नमेंट्स में, बैंक्स में ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में माने लोन को रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग किया गया, लैंडिंग रेट्स को गिराया गया, आपकी पेमेंट्स को डेफर किया गया, मॉरेटोरियम दिया गया. उससे एमएसएमई को और कॉर्पोरेट्स को अपने लोन्स को रिस्ट्रक्चर करने में मदद मिला. तो वी हैव गॉन थ्रू दैट hard phase, bad time of the last 2 years. Second, I will say labor reforms. We have seen a lot of labor reforms which are done by the government already. Lot of reduction in the corporate taxes. पहले 40 से 50% corporate taxes में निकल जाता था पैसा, अब वो 30% पे आ गया है. 10% के करीब corporate taxes में reduction हुआ है. उसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है, हमारे पास foreign direct investment का improvement हो रहा है. Why Singapore is the trading Asia? Because they are the least corporate taxes, least individual taxes in Asia. If you bring that story to India, India will definitely improve. And this journey has started. So this is not a dream. We have already started this journey. Third, I will say, last 2 years we have seen it was the growth versus life. We were locked into the homes. कि पहले बचेंगे, जिएंगे तभी तो ग्रो करेंगे ना, पहले अपने आप को बचा लें. That was the trade-off. जीना है या ग्रो करना है, तो we all have chosen grow. इससे पहले जीना है तो लॉकडाउन में अंदर घर में बैठ गए. But if you see the government investment, this huge investment in the healthcare we have seen. We have seen the digital OPDs. We have seen the lot of now online OPDs in place. We have seen the improvement in the healthcare infrastructure, hospitals, testing laboratories. We have seen our own vaccination. So we are not only the consumption, we are exporting. We are not importing country for the vaccination. We are exporting economy for the vaccination. And this journey has started. So we are growing and doing the investment in the healthcare in a big way as a country, as a corporates, as a government put together. ये जो healthcare infrastructure का जो investment है, हमारे workforce को बचाएगा, as a population हमारी life को बचाएगा, and they in turn will contribute to the economics growth actually. Fourth point which I want to mention, हमने बात किया different panelists ने skill development के ऊपर. Yes, it is the foremost important point. But मैं आपको ध्यान दिलाना चाहता हूँ पिछले 1 साल में क्या हुआ है. Most of the companies are fighting for the hiring of the freshers. क्या आपने देखा ऐसे? मैंने नहीं देखा. पिछले 25 साल में मैंने कंपनीज को फ्रेशर की हायरिंग में वार जोन में नहीं देखा. अभी हर कंपनी का टारगेट क्या है? 10,000 फ्रेशर हायर करने हैं, 5,000 फ्रेशर हायर करने हैं, 25,000 फ्रेशर हायर करने हैं. और फ्रेशर्स की तनख्वाह कितनी है सर? 5 से 6 लाख रुपए एवरेज आज की डेट में. कोई भी इंजीनियरिंग ग्रेजुएट है, एमबीए ग्रेजुएट है, फ्रेशर्स. Internship program was there in place. I have 2 worthy HR heads from the large companies. I don't want to hit directly, but जो ग्रोथ मैंने पिछले 1-2 साल में देखी है फ्रेशर्स को हायर करने में, ये ग्रोथ मैंने पहले पिछले 20-25 साल में नहीं देखी. अब उल्टा हो गया. पहले कैंपस भागता था इंडस्ट्री की तरफ, अब इंडस्ट्री भाग रही है कैंपस की तरफ. सिर्फ कितने फ्रेशर बचे हैं? तो नाउ द ट्रेड ऑफ इज ऑन द डिफरेंट साइड. It is not the seller's market, it's the buyer's market now. तो आपके पास जितने फ्रेशर हैं इंडस्ट्री को चाहिए, because they are looking for growth. And I'm telling you, this is not the time of the growth of the India. This is the time of the growth of Asia in general. There was a time before 90s, before 2000, हर आदमी यूएस की तरफ भाग रहा था. रिवर्स जिसको हम लोग बोलते थे ब्रेन ड्रेन. बट इंडिया और एशिया में इतनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज आ रही है जिसमें रशिया है, चाइना है, इंडिया है, बांग्लादेश है, फिलीपींस है, इंडोनेशिया है. All this neighborhood, we alone cannot grow. No, alone nobody can win. This geography, Asia as a geography is growing. And if somebody is not here, part of this story, they will miss the bus actually. मैं बोलूँगा अगले 20 साल एशिया के हैं, जो हमने यूरोप में और यूएस में देखा. अगले 20 साल जो एशिया में नहीं है, it can be Russia, it can be China, it can be Bangladesh, it can be Indonesia, it can be India. You have to choose your geography as per your business segment. But please shift your base to Asia. That is my, I'm not saying because I am Indian, I am part of the India. I am seeing that happening actually. Last, I will say fifth point, which has been discussed in one way or the other. A lot of disruption is happening everywhere. Large corporates who are strong leaders 10 years back, 20 years back, it can be in automobile, it can be in the IT industry. Disruption is the key actually, which we say entrepreneurship, like Sandeep told, entrepreneurship is the key. Yes, entrepreneurship is the key, startups is the key, but you have to disrupt everything actually. So today, if you see, we have seen the last 2 years, one NG, which was the online pharma sellers, it's Tata Group company. We have seen Big Basket, now Tata Group company. So you disrupt. The corporates cannot bring the innovation. Big companies cannot bring the innovation. Elephant cannot dance. No. Hathi ko nachna nahi aata hai, please. It's only rabbit which can dance. As a startup, you are the rabbit. So all 180 students यहाँ बैठे हैं, panelists 12 लोग बैठे हैं, मैं बोलूँगा अपना कुछ धंधा चालू कीजिए. अपना कुछ धंधा चालू कीजिए. ये टाइम है जिसके अंदर जो है आप फॉरवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन या बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन कुछ भी कीजिए, कोई भी आप लैब डेवलप कीजिए, कोई ना कोई बड़ा कॉर्पोरेट आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट का 10 गुना 12 गुना देने के लिए तैयार बैठा है. आई एम टेलिंग यू, दे आर सिटिंग विद बिग बैग्स ऑफ मनी. पैसे का मार्केट में कमी नहीं है. आपका इनोवेशन, आपका आइडिया, चाहे वो जयपुर में बैठे हैं, जयपुर के अंदर अगर आप प्याज कचौरी की बात करें तो रावत की प्याज कचौरी सबसे मशहूर है. आई वाज सीइंग दैट स्टार्टअप जो प्याज कचौरी रावत का जयपुर से उठा करके पुणे में सप्लाई कर रहा है. रावत नहीं कर रहा है, बट कोई स्टार्टअप है जो कि प्याज कचौरी रावत की जयपुर से उठाता है, पुणे के कस्टमर को देता है. इवन आई एम फैन ऑफ दैट प्याज कचौरी फ्रॉम द रावत इन जयपुर. तो अगर एक स्टार्टअप है जो मुझे बोलता है मैं दिल्ली में आपको दूंगा प्याज कचौरी और 50 रुपए की 100 रुपए में दूंगा, आई एम बायर. सो स्टार्टअप्स के लिए टेक्नोलॉजी होना जरूरी नहीं है, बट यस, बैकबोन विल बी टेक्नोलॉजी सो दैट यू कैन सेव ऑन योर कॉस्ट. सो आई विल से disruption is going to happen in a very big way. And the two majors, I will say, like different panelists have mentioned, Make in India. I will say the biggest disruption will happen in Make in India for defense. The Ministry of the Government has told that you have to buy local only. There is no choice for the large companies who are making the airplanes or the missiles or the drones. They have to buy only local from the India. So you can have the tie-ups, you can have the joint ventures, you can develop drones. You must have seen the budgets where they are saying that they will do the spraying of the chemicals in the agriculture through drones. So drones is going to be and the will be the I will say forefront of the every workforce. That will be we have seen that movie. मैं नाम भूल गया उसका, जिसमें वो आर्मी के साथ एक ड्रोन चलता है, पाकिस्तान में हम जाते हैं. I think that was a favorite movie. So that is not the replacement of the workforce. This is the add-on actually for every field, either manufacturing or the trading or the army or the agriculture, everywhere. And that is why I'm saying that when we say 7 trillion economy, I'll say why we are saying 7. Who has decided the 7 trillion? Why not 20 trillion? So I don't see, I'm a bull actually, not bear for this India as a story. So I'll say next time when we do the event, let us aim for 20 trillion. And I will be happy to be part of it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you for all your perspectives and candid thoughts. Thoroughly enjoyed. The lovely piece of your presentation was elephant can't dance, right? So I think that's a key message, right? That's where the agility comes. That's where the nimbleness comes. That's where the entrepreneurship comes. That's where the overall context of doing something from the scratch really comes. So thank you so much. Since we are running out of time, almost 5 minutes to go, I'll actually let Dr. Anway to decide how do you want to actually use this time, 4 or 5 minutes, because we'll have a hard stop by then.
So we can actually extend by say 5-10 minutes and take up a question.
Yeah, I have limitations. So I'll try to actually see if I can stay. I have a meeting. I'm actually in a workshop in Bangalore.
Yeah, so I also have a hard stop at 3:30, but I can take a couple of more minutes. Yeah. So I saw a question, Rajiv, coming on crypto. Okay, so on crypto. So I tried to take a shot on that, and probably others can also chime in along with me. So see, at this point of time, crypto is a reality, right? So let's not go shy away and probably think that they are something of the world, right? Crypto is a reality. Today or tomorrow, regulations will or government will accept it, right? Because this is everybody is talking about. We may not talk it now, but crypto is reality, right? And how this will come and how the blockchain technology will empower the digital currency, right? Because you see, even in this budget, okay, in this budget, you see that some tacit legalization of your digital assets is happening, right? So this is that 30% taxation on your digital assets, right? So crypto today, tomorrow, it's inevitable. It's just that how we are prepared to, because this huge country, big country, like where we have got this economic disparity, how we are going to adopt it, it will take some time. But digital, and anyways, that digital currency is going to come in the future, and crypto will play a good role in these things, as per my understanding, which I foresee from here, because other countries has already evolved. We are taking some time, but yeah, crypto will be the future for sure.
Thank you, Agniwesh. In fact, there's one more question which I can see, and this is open for all the panelists. This is about the brain drain issue, right? As a country, we have always seen this. All the high IQ folks have left country over a period of time from IIM and IITs. So what is going to be actually addressed? What do we need to do, and how these things will stop happening as we move forward in the journey? What are your thoughts?
So I will take a minute on this, and probably me and Rajiv are coming from almost same industry. So we know that brain drain will be there for sure. And recently what we have started noticing in IT industry that, hiring a person in Bangalore is, costlier than hiring a person in Bay Area. So probably people are getting cheaper talent in Bay Area rather than getting people in Bangalore. So a lot of people are thinking that whether to look for this brain drain on what is happening. See, when there is a brain, they will always drain, right? So this is the and there is also reverse brain drain. You also need to look at that. A lot of people like me, I was an NRI in 2014. I came back to India, right? So it happens, and Mallika knows. Mallika is in Singapore. She knows that there is always a chance, and that how the prosperity. So thing is that opportunity, where I'm getting an opportunity, right? We will go and shine. So this is power of our talent. Right. So don't look them as, that brain drain. So this is power. So we should be proud that we as a nation are creating value in other, as a global citizen. And then and look at the way we are trying to move in. In a couple of more years, you will see that Indians will take a shot the way China's or other expats are taking in other countries. Right. So probably we'll see this. So a positive note. At the same time, again, the opportunities, if we have got great research, great funding opportunities, probably people will continue to do research here rather than going out, because other economy are really involved, right? They have already spent a lot of billions in their R&D, which is still, we think that we still are on the infancy stage. But but I think that we should not look it as a big problem at this point of time. We should look as a pride that yes, our talent is going and ruling across the world.